Hi there, today we're gonna be talking about Dragapult League deck here. And yeah, this deck is pretty powerful, and yeah, we're gonna be comparing it to the starter deck that we got for 2025. So let's look at the difference between the battle deck and the starter deck here. And the league battle deck basically gave us 4 lines of Dragapult, and yeah, basically we got yourself a 4 Drippy, 4 Dragon Cloak, and 4 Dragapult. So yeah, the Dragon Cloak is very good, since the starter deck only gave us 2 and this one gave us 4. So yeah, this one is much better, especially with the draw power that we have. And then after that, we're gonna be running 2 copies of that Sugiri, and basically this mon, as long as it's active, it will give us any supporter in our deck, basically the top 7. So if you're unlucky, you might get nothing. So that's kind of common, since 7 cards is kinda iffy. I don't want to do the math, but yeah, it's still pretty useful to actually run. And after that, we're gonna be having a Pheasant Pity this time, so we get the extra draw. So finally, so the starter deck doesn't give us the Pheasant Pity. That sucks, but yeah. Then after that, we also get 1 more line for Xatu. So if you're unlucky with the draw power and stuff for that, you can get 1 extra Xatu, especially useful when you accidentally price one of them, or both copies of Xatu, and Natu is basically a deadline. Then after that, we're gonna be having 2 new supporter, Melee and Professor Scenario here. So Melee is a pretty okay card. The sad part is, if you have more than 6 cards in your hand, the extra draw is irrelevant. Not only that, you get yourself attachment for fire energy, so that's okay, but sometimes that extra draw is very useful. So this card is a 50-50 for me, so it's up to you if you want to run it, up to you want to take it up, but I'm gonna be showing off the deck list later on. So Professor Taurus Scenario here, and this card is a very okay card. And yeah, the reason why it's okay is because it removes all the card that's attached to it when you actually pick it back up. So that's sad, but at the same time, it's a very good card, especially if you're not having a good price trades, especially in a mirror match. You usually want to pick up like your Pheasant Pity just in case, or your Dragapult attached to the other one that's fresh, and then start rolling with that. You don't want to give price cards away, and sometimes it's also pretty useful when you accidentally get locked out, like Boss's Order or Counter Catcher, and you're active. You can just pick it back up and put active one, that stuff like that. So yeah, this card's a really okay card, but sometimes it's dead in your hand. So so yeah, the deck is very okay. The problem is we don't get an Artisan, so we can't get an extra search in the deck to get a basic mon in the active. Then after that, we don't also have the Dusknoir, so that extra damage are sometimes very useful and stuff like that. And after that, our ace spec is Unfair Stamp. This card is a very okay card. Most Dragapult nowadays switch over to Neo Upper Energy, and sometimes they usually go for Sparkling Crystal, but either way, Unfair Stamp is kind of dead nowadays for Dragapult deck. And yeah, it's okay. I will say you could probably switch it up for the Sparkling Crystal. Either way, you can still use it. Okay, here we are. We're gonna be combining the 2 deck here. It's gonna be the starter deck along with the League Dragapult deck that you can get for live, or you can get in real life, so you can get the code also from there. Okay, let's start with the Pokemon count here. We're gonna be running 4 Drippy, 4 Dragon Cloak, 3 Dragapult, 2 Duskull, 1 Dusclops, 2 Natu, 2 Xatu, 2 Tatsugiri, 1 Pheasant Pity, and 1 Cleffa. Then after that, for the supporters, we're gonna be running 4 Arven, 2 Professor Research, 2 Crispin, 2 Goyano, 2 Boss's Order, 1 Melee. And for items, we're gonna be running 4 Ultra Balls, 4 Buddy Puffin, 2 Rare Candy, 1 Counter Catcher, 1 Super Rod, 1 Artemeso, 1 Night Stretcher. And for equipment, we're gonna be running 2 TM Evo, 1 Rescue Board, and our ace spec is gonna be Sparkling Crystal. And our stadium, we're gonna be running Artisan, 2 of them, and our energy count is gonna be 3 Psychic Energy and 2 Fire Energy. So that's the Dragapult deck, and yeah, it's very powerful, and it has some of the flaws for the starter decks and the league battle decks, but at the same time it doesn't have it, so such as Mulligan, and we don't have to worry about that since both of the league and starter deck is around 25%, and this deck is only around 19%. Sadly, we cannot get it down to 15 because we don't have enough crafting points to actually get Monkey Dory to actually get it in the deck. And not only that, we also need Luminous Energy to actually use that, and yeah, we can't have both, and especially we're struggling with crafting points for new players. So, and the reason why you want to have a good ratio for Pokemon is because of giving your opponent free draw. It's very annoying, and not only that, you're gonna be losing quite a bit more, especially when you're facing a good deck along with good players with that piloting it, and yeah, you're gonna be struggling trying to get your cards to actually be online, and they're gonna get it faster than you. So let's talk about the 100% flaws of this deck. It's Badu. Badu is very annoying, and it always has been. Not only that, we have Yellow Scent now, and yeah, they're also kind of annoying because you can't play anything in your hand except for Pokemon. So yeah, kind of sucks for that. But yeah, item lock is very annoying. That's why we're running 2 TM evolution here, folks, and having 2 TM evo will guarantee us to get Dragon Cloak right away. So you get yourself a Natu on the in the active, put a evolution, put an energy on it, and there you go. Or if you have a Drippy, that's good, so you can evolve it to Dragon Cloak the next turn anyways, because you're gonna be running 4 this time instead of 2, so you can evolve a bunch of Dragon Cloak at once. So that's why we're running 2 TMO to get around Badu. Now let's talk about the 2 cards that I actually said I might remove. That is Xatu and Melee, and these 2 cards is actually decent and actually useful when you're actually trying to get yourself a comeback. So when you have a Xatu active, hopefully it doesn't get knocked out, especially against another Dragapult. So they usually knocked out your Natu and Duskull, so they can get an easier price card. Not only that, they're kind of annoying to actually deal with, especially when they actually evolve to their stronger form, such as Duskull for that extra damage or Xatu for the extra draw. And speaking of the draw, you can also power up your Dragapult. Having a Dragapult right away with the I just had to search for fire energy, and if your Dragapult was knocked out previous turn, you can use melee. So yeah, those 2 are very good. So we actually stick to the Sparkling Crystal for the starter deck there, and yeah, basically Sparkling Crystal is a very useful card, and yeah, Neo Opera Energy is good. You can just plop it on, but the problem with that card is there's no way for us to actually search it. So yeah, get rid of it. Since we don't have Bianca, we need at least 2 Bianca for Neo Opera Energy to be useful, and that costs around 80, and that will cost you 116, I think, of craft points. That's quite a lot, and yeah, but the problem with this deck is actually Jamming Tower, and I am gonna be facing against it with my best Dragapult deck that I actually built, and that deck is very strong, and it's very annoying to deal with, and that's why we're running 2 Artisan just to get rid of the Jamming Tower. And if you're facing against Golden Gold, they're gonna be using Tool Scrap, so that's why Sparkling Crystal might not be good, but at the same time it's must have. So Golden Gold matchup will be a struggle still, but anyone that uses Jamming Tower, you're basically good to go. Know that Artisan's actually useful for you to actually get yourself a bunch of Drippy or Tatsugiri or Natu or Duskull right away, and yeah, or Cleffa, just in case you need more draw power. But yeah, Artisan is a useful stadium. Okay, this part of the video we're gonna be upgrading the Dragapult deck using a better card, so you're gonna need a bunch of crafting points just to actually get some of these cards, because Star deck doesn't have them. And okay, let's go for the card lineup here. We're gonna be running 4 Drippy, 4 Dragon Cloak, 3 Dragapult, 2 Duskull, 2 Dusclops, 1 Dusknoir, 2 Badu, 2 Monkidori, 1 Pheasant Deputy, 1 Latias, 1 Halucha. And for supporters, we're gonna be running 4 Professor Research, 2 Boss Disorder, 2 Ayano, 2 Judge, 2 Hilda, 1 Professor Tour Scenario, and 1 Braxcotting. Our items gonna be 4 Ultra Balls, 3 Buddy Puffin, 3 Night Searcher, 3 Counter Catcher, 1 Nest Ball. Our stadium is gonna be 2 Jamming Tower. Our energy count is gonna be 3 Luminous Energy, 2 Psychic Energy, 1 Fire Energy, and our ace spec is gonna be Neo Opera Energy. So at the highest tier of Dragapult, you're gonna be needing to actually learn to damage spread your Dragapult, because you're gonna be using a Dusclops as a damager along with Monkidori, so you can move damage around, along with Halucha. So you got a bunch of moving damage around here. So yeah, kind of annoying to deal with if you're facing against it. But yeah, once you actually get to use this more, you can basically just get a bunch of win, because this deck deck is still pretty strong, but against Golden Go or God of War, those two decks are still pretty hard to deal with. And not only that, Dragapult kind of struggle against them because they have one prizer, and one prizer deck kind of a bit annoying to deal with. And I'm glad Ethan's deck isn't that popular because we're gonna be facing against that even more, and we just get one-shotted. And I might make a deck about that. Oh yeah, you can see a huge contrast between this deck versus the previous deck that I actually built. This upgraded deck is basically more aggressive than the previous Dragapult, so you're gonna be going all out here. And yeah, make sure you actually learn how to actually damage spread, because this deck is a bit more harder to pilot compared to the previous one. This deck will go all out, so yeah, that's why I like Dragapult, and it's much better than Iron Tone Dragapult deck that I actually previously built. So this is the end of this video, and the next video will be me piloting the deck that I actually used to combine the starter deck and the league battle deck together for Dragapult instead of this best one here. We are gonna be versing it, and know that we are gonna be versing certain matchup too, because some of them are kind of hard to do with. And in this video, see you later.